You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. If you have been struggling with the drought, heat, water, rain, I know we've had some rain this week, but the landscapes in the North Country, they're dry. They've been really struggling to keep up. And so maybe it's time to start thinking in terms of xeric, native, drought hardy things that will take this this long stretches of heat and dry, and then all of a sudden these deluges of rain and then dry again. And there's a whole series of plants that will take that. They just upgraded this Central Highlands. Central Highlands, that's kind of west of Sedona, up here, Cordis Junction, Prescott Valley, Prescott, Chino, Paulden, this whole Dewey area. They changed this from a zone 7B to a zone 8. Now, what does that mean? Zones, garden zones throughout the country, you're in a garden zone. And it's how cold does it get in the winter? They track this, and over 20 years, it's a 20-year average. So look at the last 20 years, what's the average temperature, and that's your zone. And so over the last 20 years, they just moved us up. We are now 5 degrees warmer than we were 20 years ago. What does that mean to your plants? Well, it means you can grow more deserty kind of things that will take the heat. It also means that your cold hardy stuff can get damaged. So they need the cold. Some plants actually want the cold. They need it. And if it's warmer than normal, they can be damaged. Those same plants can have damage in the summer when it's just sheer hot. If your drip irrigation's off even a little bit, you don't run it a few days more, you haven't tuned up your irrigation where you're spreading out those emitters, adding some emitters. That plant, which was 2 years ago, 4 years ago, fine with 2 emitters on there. Now it's not, because now it's grown up and bigger, and now you'll see some brown spots, leaf burn, the tips will burn off. It's just struggling. A branch, a section will die off because that section didn't have enough moisture to keep it going. And so you're seeing this stress in your neighborhood. What to do? We'll change to things that will take that kind of drought. They're more drought hardy. There's some plants that are deeper rooted or more fibrous root mass. So we just had a load of Joshua trees come in. Now, Joshua trees are not really a tree. It's a tree yucca. So it's a yucca that keeps growing these branches, kind of like a palm tree. It just looks like a miniature palm tree, only much more cold hardy. So a Joshua tree will go down to, I think they're zone 6B. So it'll go down to 0 degrees. They love the heat, but they have a real fibrous root mass. So they're pulling out every bit of moisture anywhere in that soil. They're going to grab it. And so if you put that in there, I would say I wouldn't even put those on a drip irrigation system. They would prefer to go dry. They hold moisture up in their trunks, down in their roots, got real thick, fleshy root structures to them. And we've got some tall ones that are taller than you and I. They're specimens. They're just spectacular. I've got a Spanish dagger yucca. This one's on steroids. It's really cool. It's a kind of a real stiff tined yucca. It's got big green, thick, lacy. It's like an artichoke agave, only in tree form. So artichoke agave it's a century plant. You're seeing these things grow up, gigantic flowers right now around town. They're 10, 12, 15 feet tall. This is a tree that it looks like that, only it's up on a trunk. The trunk, you can sort of wrap your arms around it. They've been trimmed up, but then this is beautiful, spiky, upright, gets a white flower in spring. It's very pretty. Those things I would not put on a drip system. You'll tend to overwater them out in the clay soil areas. I would tend to mound them up slightly to keep them out of the moisture, to keep them out of that clay. And so there's some plants that would take the heat and just thrive. And yuccas are one of those. Agaves are another one. Agaves, there's several varieties. Probably have 3 or 4 or 5 different varieties of agave. Now, these are century plants. I just mentioned they bloom and that tall flower to it. Well, there's several varieties that grow very well here, and there's quite a few varieties that don't. It gets too cold for some of those that are down in Phoenix. Your blue agaves. That's the one they make the tequila out of. I've really tried to get that to grow in my backyard, and I've killed off a couple of them, just trying. I want to push the limit, see if I can get it. If I can, I'm going to introduce that to the North Country. We've changed one zone from 7 to 8, but we've not changed to 10, which is those guys really like the heat. They like Spanish, like Mexican Sonoran desert type of heat. That's not the mountain country. So we can have, I don't know how many agaves, 100 varieties. There's probably 10 that grow up here that'll take our cold winters, but also our hot summers. And so you can plant those now, perfectly fine. They're evergreen. They look good year round. But again, I don't know that I would put an agave on a drip system. I would just put it, and then when you remember, go ahead and water it. Otherwise, let it go dry. It likes that kind of, if you've struggled having plants, keeping them looking pristine, there's a whole series of plants that do well up here. Cotoneaster or Cottoneaster, as some people will say it. That plant, there's some native varieties up here. So we've got the native one, the gray leafed one, but we've also got the bigger ones. And so there's all of them will do exceptionally well. Look at those, Mahonia or Oregon grape. That's another native, grows wild here. It looks like holly. Sometimes they'll call it Oregon grape holly because the leaf looks like a holly leaf. But it's got such a waxy leaf to it, and it's got a real fleshy root structure. It just keeps looking really good. With that one, there's, 3 different varieties, heights, basically. There's hip high, knee high, and ground cover, so ankle high. So look at it that way. They're all equally as hardy. So they're plant the one you like. Just got a new variety of manzanita. Manzanita is going to do great here. No matter the heat, no matter the cold, it's going to just thrive. It's got that red bark to it, evergreen leaf that's kind of the size of a dime, gets those bell-shaped flowers in the spring. If you're struggling, put some hardier things in. So the climate is changing. For why, I don't know. Don't want to discuss that. But I know that the gardens, some plants that were fine 20 years ago are struggling now. So you may have to remodel. If you're seeing some ugly plants, they're probably not going to get better at this point. You're going to struggle to keep it going further. So either tune up your irrigation, add some extra emitters out there to try to give it some more moisture, or it's time for a change. Have some differences out there. I've got some new cactus that came in, some hardy, cold hardy cacti. Now, not saguaros. They don't grow up at this altitude, but there's some that are upright like that do grow up here. There's several varieties of opuntia, which is a prickly pear cactus. There's real tall ones, short ones, ground cover, some with purple tinges. You can have fun with them. There's all kinds of choyas or teddy bear cactus. So I've got the hedgehog cactus, which is the cute little mounding cactus, gets maybe ankle high, gets these cute little purple flowers, purple pink flowers to it. Got some great big clusters of them. So there's probably 20, 30 of these hedgehog cactus that kind of clump up together. You can plant that. We've even put them in a paper container. So you put them in the ground, you put the container and all in the ground, just the roots will go through that paper. It kind of decomposes. So you don't have to wrestle these cacti. We're trying to get better at making it easier to plant them. And so hedgehog cactus. So if you're struggling, you're seeing a lot of that in the landscape right now. You're starting to see fall will start showing up pretty quick. If plants are stressed out at all, they will put themselves to bed early. And so they'll start turning their fall color. Well, I've been struggling a little bit. I think I'll just, I don't feel well. I'm going to go lay down, go to sleep, and I'll wake up next spring. And so that's an indication that you may have a stressed out plant. Fertilize them, take care of them, tune up that irrigation. It makes a big difference. And so you can plant now. So if you wanted to remodel, this is a great time. The ground is soiled. The soil is warm. We've had some moisture. There's some humidity. Things just root so quick right now. It's a great time to plant in the landscape. Fall is one of your best times to plant because of that. And so especially your native-y, drought-hardy stuff. So Water's garden companion plants for September are pampas grass, honeysuckle, raywood ash, and lacy blue Russian sage.
Lacy blue Russian sage is a Water's preferred perennial for its compact form that doesn't flop over in the landscape like others.
The spiky blue flowers bloom summer through fall with aromatic foliage detestable to all animals.
Simply stunning at the edge of dry stream beds mixed with wildflowers.
Shop in-store or online at watersgardencenter.com. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.